Hi, all of you. Today I will discuss the importance of synopsis making and the summaries making and what is the method of doing that. What happens is when we are attending classes, we think the notes that we take are enough. The notes in terms of coverage, ठीक है, कुछ हद तक they are fine, but there is another important stage after you have done the class. In the class, what happens is most of you are not used sitting for 2.5 hours. There are moments when you can lose concentration. There are moments when some concepts you might not understand. When you go back to your room and make a synopsis, that is when you actually start understanding what has been taught. A lot of students complain that they keep forgetting whatever they have learned, they keep forgetting whatever they have already read through. My answer is, the only way you can remember anything is if you take it through 2 or 3 stages of study. Number 1, you should make notes. Number 2, you must summarize the notes. And number 3, you must consciously memorize those summary sheets also. What summarization does is 3 things. Number 1, it helps you revisit your notes. It helps you reread your notes. And then we are summarizing. The technique of summarizing is that you must not copy everything from the notes. What you must do is pick up the most important word, pick up the most important key concept, and remove all the other English words. No grammar, no punctuation, just the most important key phrase, just the most important technical concept, you must write that down. And it's nice if you can write all of this using schematics, diagrams, tables, some kind of flow charts. So when you are doing all of this, your mind starts working and processing what you have read. See, one aspect of memorization is your mind should start thinking. When your mind starts thinking, your mind starts playing around with the content. It is then that the interconnections between the concepts is made in your brain. So when you are having a notes or you're reading a book, when you convert that in some kind of a short jottings, short summaries, you are not directly copying, but you're allowing your brain to process the information. You're allowing your brain to develop connections, to develop some kind of a storyline, and then you write down the distilled version of whatever you have read. For example, look at this sheet of summary. In this, you can see the student has summarized everything in the form of small bullets in terms of terms, phrases, small diagrams are made. The page is tightly packed. The objective of tightly packing content is that when you're revising, you'll not revise the entire length of the notes in the books. You're revising very few pages. On average, when you attend a class, you are writing about 8 to 12 pages in 2.5 hours. And the whole content must be summarized within less than a page. So when you are revising later on, your actual revision is very few pages. 200 pages of your notes should be summarized into probably less than 10 pages. It is then we know that you have done a good amount of processing. Then you have done a good amount of understanding efforts also, which helps you recall when you are writing answers. We have students who come to us and tell us that they are unable to write answers. One big reason why they can't write answers is because they can't recall whatever they have read. The answers in UPSC requires tremendous amount of interconnections, interlinkages. You should be able to analyze. And for analysis, you must recall the content very fast. So until you memorize things, you will not be able to write down. And that is where synopsis also helps you in developing good answers. So summarization का 3 advantage है. Number 1, it helps you condense content, so it helps you process content and understand content. That's 1. Number 2, when you summarize things, you are processing, and when you process, you are able to even memorize. It helps memorization efforts also. And third is, it helps you revise very fast, because summary writing is very condensed type of writing. It's writing that is very well organized in a very short amount of space, which you can revise at convenience. So now, what is the technique of summarization? Number 1, your summaries have to be very tightly written. I give example of summaries as cheat sheets. So I always give an example that what if in an examination you're allowed to copy, but the condition that the teacher or invigilator must not see your copy chits. What type of copy chits will you make? what type of cheat sheets you will make. You will write very, very small. You'll use very less space. You'll write only the keywords. You might even use symbols so that you can pack a lot of information in a very small amount of space. That's one technique of writing summary sheets. And to pack content, my suggestion always is write in vertical columns. For example, this summary sheet is showing you that the student has folded the page into 2 vertical columns. Sometimes we can make 3 vertical columns. And when we write within the vertical column space, you are constrained not to write too much and you not elaborate too much. So second technique is write in constrained spaces. And third is use more of diagrams, use more of schematics, use pictorial tools and symbols ताकि आप जल्दी से जल्दी कंटेंट को रिवाइज कर पाएं later on. In fact, in UPSC answer writing, drawing diagrams is a very, very important exercise. The kind of questions they ask and the type of time pressure you must write, the number of words you must write down. If you do not have diagrams and schematics and flowcharts in the answer, you will never be able to manage the time pressure in the examination. And synopsis helps you in that also. To look at the synopsis example once again, the student has done a very good compilation, very neatly written, very small letters, tightly packed with diagrams, and you can also try to make it a bit more colorful, use color pencils. You can use some kind of sketch pens if required, so that reading synopsis is a very, very comforting effort. Why? Because it confirms that you have put efforts into your own reading. I always tell my students that the notes you write in the classrooms are actually not your work. The notes you write in the classrooms are not actually your efforts. They are the efforts, they are the toil of the teacher who is teaching you. But if you want to really do well, what you should do is convert those notes into summary sheets which benefit you. Your summary writing is a very important, you can say, measurable milestone in terms of how much progress you have made. In your UPSC preparation and a study schedule, there are 4 important measurable goals that will help you remember if you are working hard or not. Number 1, regularity of class notes. Number 2, the summary writing that you do. Number 3, the number of answers that you write. And number 4, how many times revise and you can reproduce the summary sheets that you have written. This is my suggestion to all of you. You can see a range of examples of different type of summaries and synopsis students have written. Some of them are very brilliant, creative also, like what you can see here. If you do this, your study is enjoyable. In fact, summary writing is one type of active learning. Otherwise, sitting in the class and mechanically writing notes, mechanically jotting down the dictations, that's a passive way of study. Active study is when we involve yourself in the process of study. A lot of students who don't qualify, it is not because of lack of hard work. It is because of not understanding the process of how to study, how to learn, and how to memorize. So that's my sharing of secret. What helps you study better, what helps you memorize better, and also recall when you are writing answers. Thank you.